Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'll make sure that over the next 1.5, 2 hours, we together understand, the art of impromptu speaking. And let me spell a secret right now. Impromptu speaking is not as impromptu as we think of it to be. With a little bit of understanding and a little bit of expert guidance, even impromptu conversations can be planned, or at least a bit of it can be planned in advance. All right, let me know if my screen is visible to you. And right now you can see three very confident faces in front of you. This is who we are before we go on the stage, right? Whether you are an expert speaker, a novice, or just a guest, I am sure you have experienced it at some point in time. And today I have the honor of having the area director with me, the division director Vishal with me. I'm sure even somebody like them who are so experienced into Toastmasters have also felt the same at some point in our time. So impromptu is all about words unplanned. You are not planning what you want to speak, but then also you're required to speak. How do you do that? And today I want one thing from you, wherein don't think of it just as something inside of Toastmasters. Just take your thinking outside of Toastmasters today and think how these things will apply to you in your real life. Because if you restrict yourself to Toastmasters today, you will never be able to understand the potential, the power, and the importance of impromptu speech. So just keep Toastmasters aside for the moment, keep that impromptu Premier League, table topics, and everything aside, and just think of how it will apply to your life. So let's start. How to master the art of impromptu speech. What's in it for you? Why you should be here with me for the next 1.5, 2 hours, and why you should be listening to me. First, I will explain what is impromptu speaking and why it is critical, whether you are a student, a professional, an entrepreneur, a freelancer, or even if you are retired. Next, we will move on to say, which is it really impromptu? Or can a little bit of it be prepped and prepared in advance? How can I learn and master it? Because unless and until you understand how to learn and master it, everything else is just theory. So today I want to give you some practical techniques and tips and frameworks so that you right now can learn and work towards mastering the art of impromptu speaking. And what are some tried and tested techniques and frameworks? And trust me, I have personally researched and tested a lot of these techniques and frameworks, and they have been immensely helpful to me. And I can just wait to share them. But before that, I promised something to you right before the session started that there is going to be a surprise for all of you. If one, you engage in the session till the end, you ask a lot of questions, and you attend the session till the end. So drop in the chat box if you're excited to know what this surprise is all about. So, but trust me, this is something I'm doing for the first time and probably the last time in my Toastmasters journey. So let's see if you're excited, or I should just skip the next slide. Okay, Yash says I am. Medha says I am. Nobody else is excited? Super excited. Asif says I am. Lokendra says yes. Okay, great. So it's time for me to reveal that surprise for all of you. And tantana. So first, you'll have to attend the session till the end. Second, you'll have to ask a lot of questions. Third, you'll have to engage with other people in the chat box too. Okay, deal done. So this is going to be my surprise for you. The person who asks a lot of questions, attends the session till the very end, and engages with others will personally get 1 hour mentoring call with me, where you can improve your speech writing and delivery. And trust me, my mentees are sitting over here, Suhani, Lokendra, Medha. They know this immense potential and importance of mentoring call. And now you have the chance. Two of the best contests are coming, Impromptu Premier League and followed by the speech contest. And I will be personally giving you a 1 hour wherein you can ask any sort of questions, get your speeches drafted or not drafted, but edited by me or just supervised by me, and get answer to all of your questions. So you'll have to do only three things. engage with others in the chat box, ask a lot of questions, and uh, attend the session till the very. But, but, there is something else also, a bonus, because we all love dessert and sweets, right? So the bonus is if you share the learnings that you have learned today on your LinkedIn and on your Instagram page, tag Jaipur Toastmasters Club and my profile, whether you're doing it on LinkedIn or Instagram. I will have one bonus for you also, which is I share my free ChatGPT prompt sheets, which will take your speeches just to the another level. You can be able to add killer analogies, examples, and leave a long lasting impression. So that mentoring call will be only available to one person who attends the session till the end and asks a lot of questions. But this bonus, the free ChatGPT prompt sheet, will be available to three people that Jaipur Toastmasters Club EC teams personally decides. And there are only one prerequisite to it, that you have to share the learning of today's session on your LinkedIn and Instagram and tag Jaipur Toastmasters Club page and my page. So deal done. Can I have a thumbs up from all the people available today so that I know that there is a deal done with us? Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. We'll now start with, first of all, why impromptu speaking is important. Why is that I need to, know the art of impromptu speaking? Why should I understand how to do impromptu speaking? I don't even want to go into table topics, let's be honest. Let me tell you, impromptu speaking is something that you will face at every point in life. Now, just imagine, say, you have gone to this club with your friend. You're having a drink in your hand and you're dancing to the tune of the dance of your favorite song. A beautiful girl comes over there, ravishing in a blue gown, and she's just so mesmerizing. You fall for her instantly. You want to talk to her, and even she feels interested in you. So, just to start a conversation, she begins asking you, "Hey, I love your outfit. Where did you buy it?" Or, "I love the color of your watch. Where did you buy it?" Now, just imagine if you are like, watch, you have lost the interest of that girl right then and now. Let's flip the question and just imagine that you are entering an elevator of your office and your CEO or the partner or the founder of your company is right there in that elevator with you. And until that elevator goes on to the third or the fourth or the fifth floor, you have about 30 to 40 seconds to talk to them. They ask you a question. "Hey, I thought you were on a trip last week. Where did you go? How was the experience?" And you're again like, "Yeah, it was good." Imagine you lost that opportunity. You could have used that particular opportunity to impress that girl, impress your partner, impress a prospective employer, or maybe just a mentor, just somebody who you thought could become your mentor, just because you could not speak impromptu. And that is why the art of impromptu speaking is so important. Next, the question comes, when do I need it? Now I have understood that I need it in order to, unlock the opportunities and impress people or just express myself. But when will I need it? You will need impromptu speaking all the time. Because my friends, those of you who are working in corporates know this. Not everything comes planned for us. Many times, even when I deal with my clients ask me a lot of questions for which I just cannot prepare. So I have to answer those questions on the spot to them. And that is where impromptu speaking allows me to think on my feet because I cannot be prepared all the time. What? What do I speak in impromptu speaking? I know that impromptu speaking is important. I know I will need it at some point in time in my life. But what do I need? What do I speak it? Today we will learn that. And next, how? I have understood when I want to speak, I have understood why it is important. I know that when I will be able to use impromptu speaking, but how do I do it? Do I take care of my hand gestures and stage movement at that point also? Or do I look straight into the eyes of the person that I'm speaking to? How do I do it? And today I will unlock all those answers. Any questions till now? Anybody has anything that anybody wants to share? Now just think of a particular circle that you have. And many times you will be required to do small talk. I remember Toastmaster Ajay did a wonderful, Toastmaster of the day session for us on small talk one. Small talk is basically when two people are speaking to each other. You are at a party, you have met a person, and you want to start a conversation with them. Or maybe you are at a function and you want to start speaking to a person. That is small talk. But I have a question to all of you. Do you really think small talk is equal to impromptu speaking, or is there a difference between the two? Anybody who wants to unmute themselves and answer this question.
There is a difference between both of them.
And what is the difference?
In a small talk, you actually initiate the conversation with the person, but during a impromptu speaking session or whatever you call, you actually structure your thoughts and then you present it.
Okay.
Basically, a small talk can be somewhere prepare beforehand. For example, if I want to talk to some professional, so I can pre-plan a small talk as to how I can ask some, you know, uh, relevant and most attractive questions in advance. I can prepare that, but in an impromptu speaking, you actually have to structure your thoughts then and there only, and then present it.
Okay. Yes.
As the name suggests, small talks, I think that small talks end very quickly. So, for example, I ask you, how's the weather? Isn't it good? Oh, yes, it's good. Okay. But whereas impromptu, you can, I think impromptu as a story that it can go on and forever. So, let's say weather is nice and the temperature is increasing. Oh, the temperature is increasing. It's because of global warming. Oh, global warming is caused by this. So, I think impromptu can go on and on, but small talk, as the name suggests, is very short in nature.
Interesting perspective. Medha?
So I feel the difference lies in the subject or the message that is to be conveyed. So in small talk, it's mostly what I've experienced is it's about gossiping with your buddies or the buajis in the house. And impromptu speaking is actually about conveying a particular message that you want to share on a particular topic or the discussion that is going on in the group. And it is kind of more valuable than small talk because small talk can be small talk can be anything which does not give any advantage or a benefit to your listener, but impromptu speaking has a particular message that benefits the audience and the listeners.
Interesting perspective. Isha?
Yeah, so in my opinion, what I think that about small talk is it is referring to a casual conversation which can be on any superficial topics, right? But on the other hand, impromptu talk is the conversation or maybe something we talk and deliver without any prior preparation or planning. So it is often can be spontaneous, the situation occur where you don't have enough time to be well prepared enough to give or maybe think about the thoughts you want to deliver at the moment. So yeah, that is difference between the small talk, I guess, because in small talk you tend to lighten your heart. It doesn't usually involve deep conversations or personal subjects. So yeah, that is from my side. Thank you.
Okay. Very interesting perspectives from everybody. Now, imagine small talk like our consolation. You know, the entire solar system is what small talk. So small talk could be with your friends, small talk could be with your colleagues. Never think of small talks as something which is an informal conversation just with your colleagues or with your friends, as Medha was saying. Rather, look at small talk as something you are doing with your friends, colleagues, bosses, seniors, juniors, family, your partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, anybody it could be. When you are speaking with them and you're trying to get something out of them, you're trying to build a conversation, it is a small talk. And think of impromptu speaking as a circle inside that small talk. So if I could put it this way, impromptu speaking, a lot of impromptu speaking topics can constitute small talk. For example, what Yash was also saying is that when I ask you that, hey, how's the weather today? Do you think that summers will come a little too early this time because Holi is at the end of the March? Now, if the other person is speaking, they will have to speak impromptu on it. They just cannot prepare it in advance, no matter what. But a lot of those impromptu topics will then constitute and become a big small talk for all of us. So, for example, if the conversation might go like this, wherein I ask Yash, Yash, I know you're a great football fan, you're a huge football fan. Who do you think will win this time? Or what do you think? Uh, should Messi have chosen a European team instead of playing from a UAE team? Now, if I put a question in front of Yash and Yash has to answer this, that will be impromptu speaking for him. So never think of impromptu speaking as a topic that you have to think. That is why I said don't think of impromptu speaking just something that is being applied in Toastmasters. Think of it from a longer perspective. Wherein if you're asking people about their life experiences, about their hobbies, about things that they love to do, about their favorite movies, books, podcasts, or it could be anything, you are asking them to speak on impromptu on certain topics. And a lot of those impromptu topics will actually constitute the small talk. Because small talk, remember this, small talk, apart from what you are speaking, is also a formulation of your hand gestures, of your body movement. Because sometimes small talk will also be wherein if somebody asks me, hey Hardik, you look so amazing today, you look so handsome. I may not reply them with a compliment or saying thank you. I might just say, I might just smile. So that is again a form of small talk. Because small talk on its own is basically an amalgamation of personal, interpersonal, body language, and non-formal, formal, non-verbal, verbal communication also. But impromptu speaking a lot of time will be an amalgamation of your words, what you speak through words, and what you depict by your hand gestures and statements. So that is very important for us to all know over there. Am I clear? Can I move ahead with this?
Yes.
Great. Now let's play a very interesting game. I want so basically how many people can anybody assist how many people do we have right now with us?
22, including you.
22 including. So let's just say that we have 20 people. If I exclude myself and we can exclude one more, I want 5 people to volunteer themselves for this cause. Any 5 people who want to volunteer? So I can see Yash, I can see Medha, I can see Asif, I can see Kamlesh. I'm looking for one more person. If anybody has raised hand but I cannot see them, you guys have to help me with it. I can see 4 people right now. Yash, Asif, Kamlesh, and Medha. Ajay is also there. Great. So I have 5 people with me right now. We'll play a quick game. So I'll throw one word in front of you and we'll start chronologically. So Ajay will speak one, followed by Asif, followed by Kamlesh, followed by Medha, and then Yash. You guys, you'll have to remember it yourself. I'll throw one word, then you'll have to. Ajay will speak a word which is associated with that word. What comes to his mind? You don't have to take time. Asif will speak another word that is associated with that word that I'm going to speak, and then the series will go on. Am I clear? Nobody will take time. The moment you take more than 3 or 4 seconds, you are out of this game. Great. Should we start? So
Yes.
starting with you, Ajay, the word is magical.
Great.
Sorry,
Great.
greet.
Yeah, I said great. Great.
Great. Okay. Asif, quickly, please unmute yourself and quickly reply.
Welcome.
No, so
Welcome.
I think Ajay said great.
Great. I thought great. Okay,
Great.
great. Best. Amazing.
Evening.
Midadi, can you repeat? Sorry.
Evening.
Morning.
Ajay, don't think. Ajay, you're out. You'll have to, guys, keep unmuting yourself. Don't put yourself on mute. So Yash said morning. Asif,
Yeah, night,
quickly.
night, night, night.
Wear.
Sorry, what did Toastmaster Kamlesh say?
Wear. Night wear.
Coffee.
Milk.
Tea, tea, tea.
Chai.
Sugar.
You are out. Technically, Kamlesh, you are out because tea का ही meaning चाय होता है. So you are out. Tea, yes. Medha, Medha,
Sugar.
Yash and Asif, Priya.
Sugar.
Free.
Garden, garden.
Cafe.
Free से अच्छा cafe. Milk.
Cow, cow.
White.
Black.
Black.
Out, Asif.
Blazer.
Coat.
Woolen.
Shoes.
Socks.
Belt.
Laces.
Color.
Golden.
Gold.
Trophy.
Sorry
Out.
Midadi. नहीं मैंने सुना नहीं क्या
अच्छा, चलो,
Coffee.
we'll not continue this. Both of you are winners. So what did you get out of this? The whole idea is, now just imagine, rewind the 30 seconds of your life and just thought, when I was speaking these things to you that you have to say something which is related to the word, how many of you got that, okay, this is the word that is going to come in front of me and I'm going to speak this? Almost none of you, right? You just thought on your feet. It was so quick. And now just imagine that you don't have to speak a word associated with this word. You rather have to speak an entire sentence. How difficult it will be, right? Because sometimes people are like, yeah, I'm thinking that, Indian cricket team can win the World Cup 2024. Now, if you don't come up with something in the next 5 or 10 seconds, you have lost the interest of that person. Because now that person might start scrolling through his phone, looking here and there, or may just get lost in their own thoughts. And the moment it happens, you have lost the connection with it. And that is where impromptu speaking plays an important role. That while you are listening to somebody, you're also thinking in your own mind. And it happens with us as table topic also. Just imagine if I, invite you on stage, Yash. Hey, Yash, today I'd like you to, deliver a topic or deliver a speech on table topic, this particular thing. The moment I tell you that this is the topic for you, you also have to think on your feet in your mind as to what can be the answer that you can. And that is something that can only come with experience. Nothing in this world I can give you one size fits all solution which makes you feel that, okay, now I am able to think on my feet. A lot of will only come with experience. But how it will come with experience is that we'll have to practice a lot. And today I'll tell you how to practice and what are those frameworks that we can use. Are we good to go? Any questions till now? I can see only 6 people, so only 6
I
people
have
are
a
there. Yes, Medha, please.
question. So, when you say word association, so there has been research on this, and for example, in impromptu speaking, I feel it is very important to stay in the present moment so that you can recollect all the information and then communicate it. But with this association and its link to impromptu speaking, I have studied that, whenever you hear a word, your brain kinds of takes you back to what you feel or what you sense about that word. So, how can we practice staying in the moment rather than going into the past so that we can communicate our message easily?
Great question. First of all, I think a lot of it has to be done wherein you have to kind of combine two skills. One is the skill of active listening. Because if you're listening to people only to reply, you will never be able to answer their questions well. And you will never be able to grab their attention. So you have to be a very active listener. Second, I'm going to share some frameworks, something with you, because as I mentioned, if you try and do 100% impromptu speaking with somebody or impromptu conversation with somebody, it might fall on its flat. So you also have to devise something which you already have in your mind, so that the moment somebody asks you a particular question, you have some sort of information already ready. Because let's say if I ask you a question, hey Medha, I see that you travel a lot. Can you can you tell me about your recent Guwahati story? Because I really loved your stories that you uploaded on Instagram. Now, if you don't have anything in your mind, you will go blank for some time, and that is where you will lose the interest of that person. So it is important that we already have certain things prefixed in our mind, so that the moment somebody asks the question and that matches the information that we already have in our mind, we are quickly able to pull it, retrieve it, and tell it to the person. That is the real game. So you have to master two skills over there. One, the art of active listening. And this is something I see all the time in Toastmasters also. That whenever a speaker goes on the stage and they have to deliver a topic on, a speech on table topics, most of the times the speaker does not even listen to the topic. And that is why they are constantly asking the table topic master only, hey, what was the topic? Can you tell it to him once again? Because they did not hear it well in the first place. So what you have to do is first of all listen to the topic very well, listen to what the person is saying, quickly process it in your mind, try to pull out some information that your mind has already stored, and then present it in a grade. So there are a lot of things that are working simultaneously. And once you start to master these things, you will see that these are not very, individual processes. These are actually interlinked to each other. And that is what we will learn today. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, I'm waiting for the frameworks now.
Great. Okay, so moving on. Now, here are some rules to abide by. These are not, don't consider them as rules taken from the Constitution of India that you have to abide by them compulsorily, but these are more of principles or the guiding force when you are trying to do impromptu speak. Number one, collect enough ideas. Because unless and until you have enough ideas, trust me, no matter how many frameworks I give you, you will never be able to do impromptu speaking. So the first thing is, even when you go to gym also, even the trainer says that, hey, you need to now work upon your diet. You need to consume a lot of protein, minerals and all of that stuff if you want a good body. And similarly, if you want to improve your impromptu speaking skills, if you want to become better at communication, the best way is to feed your mind with enough ideas. How do you do that? Read enough books, listen to podcasts, watch videos, read articles, and the best of all, talk to a lot of people. Because every time you talk to somebody, they have a story to share. They have something that you can remember, restore, and recall almost every time somebody asks. Secondly, just collecting is not enough. Because let's be honest, our mind is, our brain is full of thoughts all the time. And it becomes impossible for us to restore it. So, how do you restore something? The best way is to note down everything. Whether it be in your Google, use your notes, use the Google Keep, Notion, Evernote, write something out, do whatever you want to do. But whenever you're reading a book, watching a video, listening to a podcast, reading an article, talking to a person, whatever you need to do, just start recording right now. I'll tell you this funny incident about myself. Uh, Today, since it was propose day, I had to, propose my girlfriend in a very creative, very unique way. And I get most of the shitty and the unique ideas while I'm taking a shower. So I have this habit that the moment I finish my shower, I come out of my bathroom, and even before wearing clothes, I take out my phone and I start recording the ideas, because that is the kick that I get from my shower. Similarly, find what is good for you, where you can get a lot of ideas, whether riding a scooty, listening to music, taking a walk in the park, whatever you need to do. Just start collecting enough ideas, because that will be very helpful for you. Don't panic. That is very important, because you are not running a race where the other person, if you don't answer them in time, they are going to beat the shit out of you, or they are going to say something to you. You don't have to panic. And it is as important in real life as it is in Toastmasters. Because even when you're going on the stage to deliver your speech on table topics, start buying some time. You don't have to start your speech spontaneously, immediately after the tabletop master has given your topic. just take a deep breath, wait for about 10 seconds, collect some thoughts, and think that, okay, this is how I'm going to start my. It's completely okay. See, you get about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to deliver your speech, even in impromptu Premier League also. And it's okay to buy that time, buy those initial 10-15 seconds to collect that initial thought, to know where you want to start the speech, how you want to structure it, and how you want to end it. So please don't panic, because if you panic, you will be lost. You will never be able to realize how you want to start that speech, how you want to end that speech. So take some time, take those 10-15 seconds, take a deep breath, just look around, have a smile on your face, and you will understand that a lot of thoughts will start automatically coming to your mind. Now, this is very important. Many times you might have thought that, okay, when I ask you, hey, what is your favorite travel experience? A lot of such ideas come to our mind. I went there also. I went there also. That is also my favorite memory. This is also my favorite memory. And because of all these thoughts coming to our mind, we can never channelize them and start speaking. Or when we start speaking, we fumble. So the idea is, when the first idea strikes your mind, just speak that out. Don't wait for your speech to go perfectly, or for that perfect idea to come to your mind before start sharing something with the audience. Just speak that first little idea. And now again, think of this outside Toastmaster. When I ask you, hey, do you like tea or coffee, and what's the reason behind that? Don't think that I have to give some scientific reason behind liking tea or liking coffee. Just say, yeah, I've always drank, tea always gives me that adrenaline rush. I always get creative ideas when I drink coffee. That's completely okay. Go with the first little idea. That is very important. Express an opinion. See, many times we want to be diplomatic with our answers. We never want to we never want to displease people. But please understand that you are not a clown who can make everybody happy. Your opinion will make certain people unhappy with you. Some people will be dissatisfied with you, and that is completely okay. But once you express an opinion on something, you actually take a stand up. For example, sometimes people say, hey, do you think money can buy happiness? Now, in diplomatic answer, it to be no, money cannot buy happiness. But if you feel that money is important and it can buy happiness, or it can buy things that give you happiness, don't be afraid to express your opinion. Because when you express your opinion, people actually start to feel engaged with. And that is the same with Toastmasters and table topics also. A lot of time it happens when I see that there is a question that the table topic master asks, what is your favorite book? And many times people say, yeah, I like to read different books. No, give explicit opinion that I read books, or sorry, but I don't read books as such. Rather, I watch videos, I listen to podcasts, I read a lot of articles, whatever the opinion that you have. So never be shy of. Remember the rule of three. I was once reading this book by Morgan Housel, The Psychology of Money, and he beautifully explains, the power of three. Whenever somebody is speaking, I know, a famous influencer called Ankur Warikoo always says three things to do, three things to do, three things to do. Don't go by him, but this is a general rule that when you speak something in three, I can automatically capture your attention now, because it is easy for me to, speak three things and retain three things, rather than retaining five things or seven things or nine. And by the way, odd always works in your favor. When you speak in even numbers, whether it's two, whether it's four, whether it's six, people hardly remember that. That is a psychology tip coming from years of experimentation. So always try to speak three things. That if somebody asks you, hey, you know, what do you think? What do you think about Toastmasters? Just tell them, I love these three things about Toastmasters. I don't like these three things about Toastmasters. And you're more likely to capture the attention of other person. And even when you're speaking outside of Toastmasters, also to people in your real life, give them three things. Here are three things that I think that might help you. Here are three books that I love the most. Here are three movies that I have watched. I can binge watch anytime. And you're more likely to capture the attention. Any questions till now? Anything that you want to ask? Any doubt you have? So gaya ye jahan. Yes, Yash?
Hardik Bhaiya, I wanted to ask an example for the remember the rule of three. So let's say if someone asks you what is your favorite book, so do you suggest these are my three favorite books, or do you suggest why XYZ book is my favorite?
Both. If somebody asks me what is your favorite book, I might say, I've been reading this Same as Ever by Morgan Housel recently, and I just love that book. He gives these three amazing learnings from that book that you can apply to almost anything in your life. Now that depends a lot. For example, if somebody asks me, "Hey, who is your favorite cricketer?" I cannot say them. Here are my three favorite cricketers. No, I will say them. I love MS Dhoni. And these three things that I'm more passionate about him, and now I'm more likely to capture the attention. So it depends on a variety of things. For example, if I ask you, "Hey Yash, what do you think about CA?" You might say, there are three things that I love the most about CA. This rule of three actually helps you capture the attention of the person. That is very important. In one of the table topics, impromptu, it was highlighted that we should not repeat the question or appreciate the question. Instead, we should start speech directly. Great question, Sonu. I'll come to this point because I have a specific section dedicated to how you should start your table topics. What are some things that you should remember and how it can help you, master the art of table topics. I'll come to that question shortly. But before that, anything that you want to ask right now, or should I move ahead with my presentation? Are people sleeping? Are they wake up? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'll move. Remember 5 W's and 1 H. So what are those 5 W's that I'm talking about? Anybody who wants to unmute themselves and tell me?
Who, when, what, where, why, and H is how.
Great. Use round of applause for Toastmaster Suhani. I hope she did not see my PPT before answering this question. But yes, she's right. These are the 5 W's that you should remember. Why, when, where, who. I forgot. Why, when, where,
Why, when, where, what,
and
who.
and the how. So yes,
How.
these are the 5 W's that you should always remember. Again, you don't have to put all those 5 Y's and 5 W's and 1 H compulsorily in your speech or compulsory when you're speaking to somebody, but just remember that most of these things should come into the picture. For example, if somebody asks me, "Hey Hardik, what do you think about RBI's monetization policy? Was it right demonetization? Could government have done something differently with it?" So I might start by saying that, see, first of all, I think everybody got affected by it. When I thought the timing was not right, the timing could have been better. Probably the government could have waited for some more time. Why? I think it was really important because there was a lot of black money being circulated into the system, and something like demonetization was really helpful. Where I thought that rather than targeting all the areas of the society, they could have targeted, say, top 10% people who have not filed their income tax returns or who have paid less tax in the last 10 years, and they could have targeted directly those people. And then how? Probably they might have done something differently, wherein the 2000 rupee notes or the 500 rupees notes could have been circulated better into the system. And now if I structure my speech by using the 5 W's and the 1 H, I'm able to comprehend what I'm trying to say and I'm able to structure it also well. So just now recall, whenever you're speaking to somebody, when you are sharing your travel experience, rather than just speaking abruptly about it, just quickly try to think, okay, who, when, where, why, what, and how. That will give more structure to your speech, one. And second, you will have enough content to speak. I hope I was clear there. I'll move on to the next one. Prepare in advance. A lot of preparation in advance will come from one, collecting enough ideas. I'll highlight that enough for you. Please start collecting more ideas. Whatever you read, whatever you listen to, whatever the conversations that you have, just start noting them down. And by the time you have spent 6 months on it, you will have enough ideas to share. And trust me, a lot of table topics. I remember there was this Toastmaster. I cannot name them for privacy purposes. But what they used to do is they used to record everything in 5 buckets: motivation, personal experiences, geopolitics, finance, and miscellaneous. And 1 year into this recording entire thing, they had so many stories that by the time they had to come on, stage for table topics, they knew that topic is going to be only about these 5 things. Because most of the times they keep topics about these 5 things. And they would pull out one story and everybody would be like, wow, she's just so amazing. How can she do this? But it was just recording enough ideas and recalling them at the right time. So I cannot emphasize this more. Just start recording ideas. And they don't have to be these 5 buckets, mandatorily. Medha is asking me, they don't have to be these 5 buckets mandatorily. For example, I know I am fascinated with cricket. So I might say cricket, finance, personal experiences, general experiences, and whatever I record from books are going to be my 5 buckets. For you, it could be motivation, relationships, career, life experiences, and miscellaneous. For somebody else, for Suhani, for example, it could be college, PR, marketing, just relationships and personal experiences. So just figure out what are those going to be 5 buckets for you. And then whenever you listen to a podcast, watch a movie, watch a video, just start recording those ideas. Because we are surrounded by ideas from all the sides. Most of us, so for example, right now I see, I watch Shark Tank a lot because I'm a huge fan of Shark Tank and how people, people pitch their products and how they get evaluated by the shark. Now, if you see, even the sharks use the CRC app because they never go bluntly on the picture. Anupam always starts by sharing what they like about the product, and then they share that this is something we did not like about the product, and that is why we are out from this. So now, next time when you have to speak something on the CRC approach in Toastmasters, don't just say that, oh, use a CRC approach. Tell them, I was watching this episode from Shark Tank India where Shark Anupam beautifully evaluated a pitcher's pitch, gave them an evaluation in the CRC approach, and the audience also liked it. Similarly, you can also use the CRC approach in Toastmasters or elsewhere. So try to reflect on a lot of ideas and highlight your experiences. Forget books, forget movies, forget videos, forget podcasts for a moment. For example, Yash sitting with us has a huge experience in terms of studying for CA. I am myself a 4-time, CA final dropout. I failed CA final 4 times. Medha is sitting with us. She comes with a lot of experience. Suhani comes with different experience. Lokendra comes with different experience. Kamlesh has a lot of experience. So start noting down your experience that, okay, these are my stories. These are the wonderful things that I have done in my life. I am going to remember them. And every time somebody asks you that, hey, what do you think defines your life? Just start sharing an experience. Rather than telling that I am so punctual, tell them, whenever Toastmaster meetings happen in Jaipur Toastmasters Club, I have this habit that I always reach 5 minutes earlier so that I can prepare in advance. Now, you're not just directly stating one statement to them, you are telling them why, when, where, what, and who, and how. And that is where you can actually prepare certain things in advance rather than going impromptu all the time with yourself. Am I clear? Any questions till now? Anything that you did not understand, want me to repeat?
So
Anybody, guys? Yes, Medha.
I have a question. When you spoke about expressing an opinion, so in Toastmasters, often it happens that people, when they are going for an impromptu speech, especially our guests, they kind of think something and they want to speak that in Hindi language. But Toastmaster says that we need to, speak in English and strengthen it. So, what is the kind of balance that we can make between Hindi and then speaking in English? Because as Indians, Hindi is our first language. So the thought first, and as Indians, I've seen that mostly people think in Hindi and then they try to convert that in English. And for English, I feel it's always about thinking in English and then speaking in English. So, what is the kind of balance that we can, create so that we balance these both languages? We think in Hindi, speak in English, and things like that while expressing our opinion.
Okay. Couple of things. I'll talk about Toastmasters and I'll talk about non-Toastmasters also. I'll talk about both of these things. First, let's talk about non-Toastmasters, wherein we don't have to mandatorily speak in Hindi, in English. We can express our opinion, we can express our thoughts on Hindi also. That is where it does not matter whether you're speaking in Hindi, whether you're speaking in English, your thoughts should come out. And that's crystal and clear with us. But now coming back to Toastmasters, even I have this habit. I cannot think in English. I can think only in Hindi. But what happens with me is I'm able to think on my feet, think quickly, that whatever I'm thinking in Hindi, I can translate that to in English instantly. I don't have to wait a lot. While, Hindi is something that is not prohibited in Toastmasters as such, and this is something I learned from the past district director, Sapna, that you should never stop yourself just because you can't speak English. It's okay because Toastmasters is a platform for communication and public speaking, not for improving your English. But it is just that Jaipur Toastmasters Club has taken a stand wherein we want people to speak in English, even if they, stammer somewhere, even if they can't express their thoughts out, we want them to come out of their comfort. But Toastmasters never says that you have to mandatorily speak in your in English only, because I know a lot of clubs who operate which operate in their local languages, not just Hindi, but Spanish, German, Russian, and all of that stuff also. But it's just that at Jaipur Toastmasters Club, we want people to come out of their comfort zone and try to speak in English so that they can think on their feet and they can start bridging the gap between thinking in Hindi and speaking in English. So we should always encourage people that it's completely okay even if you want to speak very toot English, because I don't know what is, how I can translate that toot into English. That's completely okay with me. By the way, I'll keep this as a trade secret. I was the other day when one of the speakers, when I was in club, he asked me that my evaluator has told me that I have to translate all of the Hindi words into the English words instantly. I will lose the interest of the audience. And you know what I told him? That most of the times you don't have to go by everything that the evaluator is. It's completely okay if you are not following certain guidelines and advices that the evaluator is giving. For example, if I have to say something in Hindi, I want to speak it in Hindi and I don't want to translate it into English because I will lose the attention of my audience. Papa always looks good because that is what I call my dad. But if I say, na, I asked Papa, oh, I asked Dad, I had lost your interest over there. So no matter what happens, I will always say, I asked Papa about this. Papa told me about this. माँ told me about this. मेरी बहन ने मुझे ये बोला. मेरी बहन ने बहुत important बात बोली. Now, no matter how much I do the voice modulation, I will never be able to bring out the emotions. Might just satisfy. No, because Hindi has certain emotions. So that's completely okay. But most of the times we still want to speak in English just because we want people to come out of their comfort. I hope I was able to answer your question, Mika. Can I move ahead with my slide? Great, thank you. Now is the most interesting section of this entire session, wherein I'll talk about the frameworks that you can literally use. And I know a lot of these frameworks, some of these frameworks, one or two of these frameworks, I have already shared with my mentees also in the past. But there are some insane, frameworks that I have never shared with anybody, that I've always kept to myself. So today, for the first ever time, I'm going to share them with you. Let's start with this. Prep. Can any of my mentees tell me what this means? What is this framework? If you remember this. Okay, yes, Medha.
So PrEP is a framework to structure one speech where P stands for the point that I want to communicate. Then R stands for the reason of that point. Then E stands for explaining it with an example. And then again, P stands for repeating the point.
A huge round of applause for Medha for explaining it so beautifully. Thank you so much. My other mentees should listen to me. Other former and current mentees should learn it from Medha. So yes, PrEP is point, reason, example, and point. Wherein you start with one particular point. I agree with you. I disagree with you. Whatever you want to share, you give a reason why I agree with you, why I disagree with you. You give an example. Because when you are stating just one point and a reason, you might lose the interest of other people because you might be talking fluffy. So you also you also have to give an example why you agree or disagree with that person. And then again repeating the point. That is why I agree or disagree with you. And point is also known as opinion sometimes. So you might have heard Ranjanjeet, Toastmaster Ranjanjeet uses this a lot, wherein he says audio framework. So it is also called as audio framework, opinion, then a reason, then an example or explanation for it, and then again stating the opinion. This kind of framework literally is used when somebody is asking for your opinion on something, where they are giving you example. A good example could be, hey, do you read books or watch videos? Now I've given you one particular thing and you have to answer this. So you might say, I think I like to read books. I've given you a point. The reason being because I like to smell the physical book. I love the fragrance and the smell of the physical book. Example, there was a time I used to watch videos a lot, but once I got into book reading, I got a lot of good ideas in that. And that is why I always prefer books over watching videos. So prep framework is almost used when you have to express an opinion, where you have to raise a point and you have to give an example, a reason, and then also end up it with a point. Any questions over here, or is it clear? Great, thank you. Now this is interesting, which is called as pendulum method. And what pendulum method says is that, like a pendulum, you swing to both sides of the argument. Wherein what you do, you start with one side, you explain your view why you picked that one side, you swing to the other side, you explain the second view, and then you choose one side. For example, if I say, is it okay? I live in relationships. Can the person unmute themselves? Thank you. So if I say, are live-in relationships better than marriages? I might start by saying, I feel that live-in relationships are better than marriages. Then I explain why I feel that live-in relationships are better than marriages. Then I will swing to the other side. Having said so, marriages are better than live-in relationships in these particular circumstances. I'll explain why I took that, and then I'll at the end I say, personally, I feel that marriages are more permanent and live-in relationships are more temporary. So what I've done is I've swung like a pendulum on both the sides. Rather than putting one point, I am kind of sharing my pros and cons or my thoughts on both of the sides. And at the end, I'm picking one point. But I'm keeping it open-ended that you can choose it according to your particular reason, whether you want to swing this way or this way. I've explained the pros and cons of both of them, but I personally feel that this point of view is better for me. So this is called as pendulum method. Is it clear? Good to go? Thank you. Now this is the balance method. And as the name suggests, it is almost similar to pendulum method. We are going to explain both the sides over here as well. But ideally, we are going to take a neutral point. So for example, giving the same example, I might say that live-in relationships are better in these circumstances. These are my reasons behind it. Marriages are better in these circumstances. These are my reasons behind it. But I don't want to go with any of them. I leave it to the audience whether they want to go with relationships or whether they want to go with marriage. Or if somebody asks me, hey Hardik, is cricket better or soccer? I might say cricket is good for these particular reasons. But having so, soccer is the most popular sport. It gets finished in about 90 minutes and enjoys a huge fan base. I'm personally a fan of Ronaldo and Messi. But having said so, I don't want to go with one opinion. I love both cricket as well as soccer. So in the balance method, you are kind of exploring both sides of the argument, but you are not choosing one side. You are taking a middle path. Is it clear? Can I move to the next slide? Perfect. Now this is very interesting. I was actually researching about it and I found it like a fascinating method. So light bulb method is, when you strike an idea. For example, we all know Newton was sitting, an apple fall on his head, and he was like, oh, gravitational force is working. So light bulb method is basically where you state a problem, something has occurred, then you tell why it has occurred, and then you offer a solution to that problem. For example, there is a table topic section wherein, why today's children are not able to focus on their work, on their studies. You state the problem by saying that a lot of children today, or many children today, have smartphones always on their hand. They are constantly watching cartoons. They are juggling between, their studies, their sports, social media, Instagram, and all of that. Then you state the cause behind it. That because their parents are also on phone, so the same habit is inculcated into their children also. And then you offer the solution that I'd request all the parents to stay aside even 1 hour every day, read a book to your children, or keep the phone aside just before you're going to sleep. And that way, your children will able to get out of that smartphone world, and they will be able to focus or put their attention on the particular. So what you're doing is problem, then the cause, then the solution to it. Am I okay? Am I clear? Do you have any questions? I cannot see a lot of people. So if you have any questions, please ask them. Please unmute yourself if you want to ask anything. Moving on. The next is the timeline method. Now, it might so happen that I may have a different point of view when I was in the past, but when I am present and in the future, I might have a point of view. So that is where I will structure my speech. For example, in the past, I used to feel that college degrees are important. Nobody should drop out of their college. It is important for you to get your formal education. But where I am right now in my career path, I feel college degrees are waste. I don't care whether you have passed your 12th or whether you have studied from IIM Bangalore. You are one and the same thing for me if you don't have enough experience. But in the future, I might again change my perspective based on the circumstances, or I might feel that skill-based learning is the future, wherein even if you're not going to college, you still have to acquire some sort of formal education. And it is the same for all of you also. For example, in the past, you might feel that Toastmasters was not a great platform for you because it is, it is a very structured place wherein you want some unstructured kind of learning. But when you came into Toastmasters, your thoughts about Toastmasters changed. Currently, you feel that you love Toastmasters a lot, but in the future, you might be able to explore some other platform which is better than Toastmasters, and you might leave Toastmasters for. So the timeline method is where you have something in the past, you have in the present, and then you will have something in the future, and you structure it in your. Am I clear over here? Do you have any questions, anything to ask? Thank you. Zoom method, micro or macro. So in this particular method, what we do is we take a step back, or probably in whatever the thing is, and we see the bigger picture and not be boxed into one perspective. For example, a good thing is wherein I say, is ChatGPT the future of AI? Is ChatGPT the future of content writing? Now, I might take a macro perspective on it and say that in the past also it has happened, wherein such kind of tools have come and content writers have felt scared of it. But over the time, that fad decreases, and good storytellers will always remain there. Or I might take a more micro approach in it and say that no, the other tools were good, but not as good as ChatGPT. So yes, ChatGPT will easily finish off a lot of writers. Similarly, for example, Medha, Medha might be asked, hey Medha, do you feel that skill-based learning is the future, or do you still feel that people will have to study maths, history, and all of that stuff? Now, Medha might take a micro approach on it or macro approach it. Medha might say that based on my experience, skill-based learning is going to be the future. No matter where you are studying history, math, whatever you are doing, it is not going to matter. You'll have to work on your skills. Or Medha might take a micro approach on it and say that while skill-based learning will be the future, you are still going to read maths, you're still going to study math, science, and all of that stuff because you need that little bit of basic learning. So in the Zoom method is what you are doing is you're trying to take a magnifying glass and either zoom in or zoom out and then speak about it. Am I clear? Thank you. Let me know if I'm going too fast, if you want me to explain anything, if you have any thoughts, just anything going in your mind that you want to, spit out right now. I'm happy to listen to you. Now, this is called triangle method. What triangle method basically says is that you speak from three different perspectives, or you include three different characters in your story. So let's go back to that example that I was talking about. Why today's generation not able to gain their focus or gain their attention? Now, I might speak from three perspectives. One, from the parents' perspective, that they have to be on their smartphones because the world is going digital and they have to run with it. So they cannot leave, smartphones at all. I can speak from children's perspective, wherein I can say that children should, not look at their parents in this perspective. They should go out, they should play more games and something like that. And I can also speak from teachers' perspective that even if we make them study at school, it is parents who will shape their future and their habits at home. So I'm trying to speak from three different perspectives. Say, for example, if I'm asked, you know, uh, which is my favorite book, I might again speak from three different perspectives. If you are a great reader, I would prefer this book to you. If you're a non-reader, if you're starting to read the book for the first time, I might prefer this book for you. And if you're somebody who skims through the book, who likes to see visual images rather than reading a lot of text, I might prefer this particular book for you. I'm again talking from three different perspectives over here. So that is where the triangle method comes into the picture. Yes, Medha, you have something to share?
Malika has written in the chat box for requesting you to explain the zoom method once more. So if you
Okay,
can do that.
sure, I'll do that. I'm coming back to your question, Malika. Am I clear with the triangle method? So you have to take three different perspectives and speak from there. So it could be a hero, a villain, and a guide. It could be a friend, a colleague, and your partner. It could be anything. Just think of three characters and then speak from those three characters' perspectives. Coming back to the Zoom, yes, Yash?
Okay, so sorry to interrupt you. You were going to tell Zoom method again. I was saying, so according to you, you were saying to have a broader perspective of everything, and that's how you will collect the most of the things. If you want to inculcate the triangle method or the pendulum method, is that
Yes.
what you
So
say?
that is mandatory that you have to have enough thought, because if you don't have enough thoughts already, for example, do you have interest in geopolitics, Yash, by any chance? What is
A
your interest
little bit.
area?
My interest area would be finance, sports, economics.
Okay. If I ask you one question, that owing to this recent ban of RBI on Paytm, do you think that Paytm share will continue falling from here? I don't want you to answer. I just want you to think upon this now. Do you think that Paytm shares will continue to fall from here? And should I buy the Paytm stock? Should I sell it? Should I hold it? What should I do it? Now, if you have good thoughts in your mind, if you continuously read about this, you'll answer them from three perspectives. Hardik, from Paytm's perspective, I know that Vijay Shekhar Sharma is a wonderful man. And I know no matter what happens, he will not sink the ship. So something will come in time that will uplift this ban. From government perspective, even the government will not want a company like Paytm to get dissolved or to sink too early, because that will affect the economy negatively. From investors' point of view, if you believe in Paytm as a company and if you believe in Vijay Shekhar Sharma as a founder, you might want to stick to Paytm no matter what. Because we have seen in the past also where these kind of things have happened with companies, but founders have been able to pull that through. So now you're giving it from three different perspectives, the answer. But is it possible if you don't have enough thoughts about this particular thing? Will you be able to do it? The answer is no. So you need to have enough idea first of all. Now, for somebody who's a layman, say for example, who does not know about Paytm as such, or who does not know about the recent RBI, they might say that while I do not know what will happen with RBI or what will happen with Paytm, but I know that in the past also, whenever something like this has happened, companies have been able to pull it through. And I'm assuring you that it will happen this time also. But from the government's perspective, we might see a different UPI altogether, or probably Mukesh Ambani might buy it under Geo Financials and strengthen the Geo framework. These things might also happen. So by the triangle perspective, you're now giving a perspective from three things. And if I am interested in talking to you, you're now sounding very interesting to me. Because I will ask you, oh Yash, So do you think I should be able to invest more in Paytm because I love what Vijay Shekhar Sharma is doing? So now it has allowed me to do that small talk with. And that is where we are coming back to the thing that a lot of impromptu topics will now constitute the small talk. That is the real. I hope I was able to answer your question. Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay. Coming back to Malika's question, the Zoom method. So, Malika, if you can unmute yourself and tell us about your interest areas. What do you love? Which is your favorite hobby? Anything like that.
My interest areas, you can say the technology and finance, and
Okay.
sports is not my interest area.
Okay. So technology is your interest area.
Yes.
Anything particular in technology?
Technology and business.
Technology and business. Okay, great. So, Malika, I want you to express your opinion on whether Shark Tank India will be crucial for technology businesses. Do we need a platform like Shark Tank India to promote technology businesses in India?
Yes.
I want you to tell me something about it because you told me that you are interested in technology. Let me tell you what you can do over here. By Zoom method, I meant that now you can say that, I watched Shark Tank India and how aggressively Anupam Mittal and Piyush Bansal bat on technology businesses because they themselves come from a technology background. I am sure that a platform like Shark Tank India will be able to promote technology businesses in India. Or probably you might go a little macro and say that Hardik, it's not just about technology businesses. Let's talk about how people have started understanding businesses in India because of a platform like Shark Tank India. So forget technology. Now I'm going on a macro level. I'm not just talking about one niche which is technology businesses. Now I'm talking about the entire landscape. That yesterday while we were sitting on a dining table, my 60-year-old dad who does not understand equity and all of these things because he comes from a traditional business background was also watching Shark Tank India because they talk about business. They don't just talk about stuff. So now you're presenting a macro understanding of the topic that has been presented in front of you. But at the same time, you might go micro on it and say that technology businesses will be able to get promoted in India because a lot of such businesses are coming on Shark Tank and the sharks are aggressively investing in these kind of startups. And then you can, strengthen your understanding in terms of what will happen, where we are going with technology, how technology and the invention of AI and ChatGPT might change the technology landscape in India also, and these other things. But the idea is to find one topic, then either go on in the Zoom level, Zoom in level, and go on the micro level, or zoom out and speak on the macro. Am I clear, Malika?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, storytelling method. A lot of you already know this. I've spoken this umpteen times in my speeches and in my personal interactions. Guys, stories is important. And that is why I'll tell you something very interesting. Have a story bank. Just sit down and think of all the stories that you want to share and the messages that you want to share. I remember, recently I was speaking to my girlfriend and I am a huge fan of this podcast, Kya Wo Sach Tha. It is a horror-based podcast that I listen to. And I was just telling her a story that, this entire story was being, told on that podcast. Now, it does not have to be your story standalone, but all the stories that you can collect, you can think of, just collect those stories, have the messages ready with it, and then create a story bank. And I'm sure that the next time you're delivering a table topic or next time you're speaking impromptu somebody, one of these stories will come handy to you. So just start preparing more of your stories, whether you read it on books, whether you watch podcasts, again, when you read newspapers, whatever you do. I'll tell you a quick example of it. Recently, some of you might know that Nitish Kumar, left his previous collaboration, like previous Gathbandhan, and now he has joined NDA once again. This is a classic example of employees who run behind money rather than being loyal to their employer. They always run behind the position. So next time I'm explaining this particular point in, if I'm trying, if I'm, given a topic that how important loyalty is for your employer, I might tell the classic example is Nitish Kumar. Don't be Nitish Kumar. But how it was possible? Because I had a story cooked up in my mind. I had a story bank out of which I could retrieve a story and I could deliver it to the audience. So please have those stories with me. Am I clear? Any questions? Thank you. C approach. This is very interesting again. Statement. Make a very simple statement that you want to share. Evidence. Provide facts. Whatever it could be, data, stories, analogies, experiences, whatever you want to share. And then emotion. Some emotion, something that people want to take away with them. For example, Yash, I'll give your example. Uh, you were speaking about the press that day in your speech. How you could use the C approach in your speech is simply by stating that the invention of press have had a long lasting impact on our life also. Then you could have told certain evidences that this is why I feel, and then a strong emotion. Today, even a tweet is a form of press because I can literally just make a tweet and then it is out in public. Today, even that WhatsApp message is a form of press, wherein I can depict how I'm feeling after India has lost the match. So today, press is not just restricted to those machines in the press house. It is literally on our hands through our mobile phone. We all are individual presses right now, trying to depict our emotions well. You could have used the C approach over. So it is a powerful approach that you can use when you're explaining some, I'll say some very informational topics that you're trying to say. C approach is great over. The 3 T's. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them and tell them what you told them. Remember what I did in the starting of this session? I told you what I'm going to tell you. I spoke that I'm going to today speak about impromptu speaking. Right now, I'm telling them how you can, master impromptu speaking. And then at the end, I will tell you that this is what I told you today in impromptu speaking. And this is the same. Whenever somebody asks me about my opinion on anything, I just tell them, so today I'll tell you this interesting thing that happened with me. Then I tell them that the interesting thing that happened to me. And then I tell them what I just told them. So this works the well. If you can't master any of the framework, just master this framework. That tell them what you will tell them, and then tell them what you just told them. By the way, nice tongue twister for me. Good to go. Can I move on with the next slide? How many people are alive and how many of you have slept? Kamlesh is ever happy and ever smiling and the most alive person on this planet Earth. I can say that guarantee. Okay, so now this is very interesting. I'll show you this example table and we'll understand some really good techniques live. So let's say you have to answer a question about making your bed. Somebody asks you that the topic is making your bed. A very boring topic, right? What can I tell? Making your bed means just folding my quilt. I learned this very recently that there is a difference between the bed sheet and the quilt. So what will you tell? You can't say anything, right? That is a very boring topic. But let's see how you could do it. So for example, the technique is past, present, future. The timeline technique that I showed you. You could say, as a child, I used to hate making my bed, but now I do it religiously. I'm sure when I get older, I will go back to my old ways as it will be hard to bend over. And then you can explain. There was a time I used to hate making my bed. My mom used to just shout at me so much that, Hardik, why are you not making your bed every day? And then slowly and steadily, I started realizing that I become more productive the moment I make my bed. So today, after waking up in the morning, the first thing that I do, even before going to pee, is making my bed. But I'm sure once my wife comes over, it will be hard for me to make my bed once again. And as I get older, I may be able to leave my quilt on the bed itself. Some sort of storytelling using the past, present, and the future. Now, friends, family, and strangers. This is another very interesting technique. Using the triangle method, you are taking 3 perspectives. So I might say, my brother never makes his bed. but my mom always does. I often wonder if they are related because one of them just never makes their bed. And I think 80% of the population make their bed every day. So now I'm taking three perspectives: my brother, my mom, and rest of the world. Or I might take another perspective: my friend, my partner, my colleague, my mentor, my mentee, and somebody else. So I'm taking three perspectives now. And if you're seeing now, this entire very, very boring topic is also starting to make some sort of story now. State explains state. Bad making is boring. It takes ages. You unmake it hours later, and that 5 minutes you could use another way. It's not right, and I refuse to do it. You have stated a fact. Bad making is boring, man. Who does it? You explain it why you don't like to make your bad. And then you again state it. That is why I don't make my bad. For and against. What we are doing is taking that pendulum approach. So you could say that making your bad shows discipline and you have an ordered mind. On the other hand, if you don't make your bad, you might be seen as a more creative person who is not bound by the. So I'm kind of taking that the balance approach and the pendulum. I'm explaining what it is like to make your bad, what it is like to not make your bad, and either I may take a stand at the end, that is I don't make your bad. So now it will go into the pendulum approach, or I may take a balance approach saying that whether you make your bad, whether you don't make your bad, it's completely okay. And I'm taking the balanced approach. Is it clear? Good to go. Thank you. Fact, fact, anecdote, and tie back. Just think of it as the Oreo. Opinion, then a reason for it, then an example, and then again an opinion. Bad making is a constant debate in our house. Let me tell you why. So first you made an opinion, now you're giving a reason. Well, I guess you can see the bad making wasn't the real issue at all. So now you're giving an example that uh, my dad always tells my mom that why you always have to make the bad, it's completely okay. And my mom always says that if you don't make your bad, goddess Lakshmi will never bestow her blessings upon you. And you can explain that with the help of an example. And then at the end you could say that that is why we don't make bad in our houses, or that is why bad making is so important. So you're using that audio approach over here. Politician and pivot, that is where it gets really interesting, because many times people might throw certain topics about which you have absolutely no clue. And just like our favorite politicians, Srimati uh, Priyanka Gandhi and Shri Rahul Gandhi, you try to make something out of nothing. How do you do it? Just pick one word out of that and start explaining something. For example, if I say making your bed, you might say, even if you don't have any clue about it, just say, yesterday I was daydreaming in my bed. I was lying on this bed and just thinking about something. And then I realized I'm proposing this girl. But the moment I opened my eyes, I did not see anybody. So now you are being a politician and you're pivoting from your original topic. And that is a very important thing when you don't know anything about the topic or you know very little about the topic. Am I clear? Anything else that you need understanding over here? I can see only 4 people turning on their cameras. No, Lokendra and Kamlesh has also done it. Yes, Yash.
So, Bhaiya, if I'm purely speaking about impromptu Premier League, would there be any negative marking if we choose the politician and pivot technique?
Not really. It all depends on how you speak it. I'll show you. We'll do a live technique right now, wherein I want you to go for the politician and pivot technique, and we'll give you a first-hand evaluation in terms of what you could have done differently. But yes, definitely there will be no negative marking if you stick to the particular point. That is the whole idea, and I'll explain you how it happens. Recap something recent. That is again, you're just recapping something. You have a story in your mind. You have a story that is running in the back of your mind, and you're recapping that story. So if you saw, there was one topic, making your bag, and I showed that using all of the techniques that we have focused on in our session, how you could turn that topic according to each method. Am I clear? Any questions till now? Anything that you want to ask? Yes, Suhani.
Hardik, you have shared a lot of techniques, and to be very honest, like I am a beginner in this impromptu speaking skills. What do we say? And we have a lot of framework for evaluation also. But as you always recommended me or everybody to use the CRC approach, and especially for the beginners, and seeing all of these a lot of techniques, it actually make me confused at a moment. I have like two questions. The first is, as a beginner, which are the best techniques for us to use so we can improve and enhance the quality of our content while we are delivering it. And the second is how we can differentiate between what technique we should use while the topic is given to us and we have to deliver a speech.
Okay, great question. I think first of all, don't get confused between these techniques because over the time, once you start implementing them, it will become a matter of choice for you. Because as I showed over here, it will never happen wherein one technique will apply to one topic. There could be 8 of 10 or these techniques that can be applied simultaneously to one topic also. So don't figure out too much in your mind that, okay, I want to go with this technique or with this technique. Just think that I need to do the basics right. And the basics are collect a lot of ideas. That is the most important thing that you have to do. Collect a lot of stories wherever you can. And just whenever a topic is given to you, think of how you can make that topic creative. So, for example, give me any random topic that you want to say, and let uh, people over here will spin off that topic quickly in 10 seconds. What are the techniques that they're going to use? Okay, so Suhani will give us one topic right now, and I want all of you to say that, okay, I'm going to go with the pendulum method. This is why. Keep it very short, very succinct, and we are going to use 8 techniques or 10 techniques, whatever we have learned, and tell Suhani how these 10 techniques can be used in one topic. Great, good to go. Am I clear? Okay, so Suhani, any topic quickly, very quickly.
Okay, so what are your views on the the project files that you have made with a lot of hard work, and you have worked your, I'm sorry for my foul language, your ass off till night, and then you see them throwing away in the dustbin. So what are your thoughts on that? Dot dot
So
dot
is
dot.
the question clear to everybody? When you worked relentlessly, I'll put them in a more sophisticated way. When you worked relentlessly, burnt the midnight oil, but in the morning, your teacher, your boss, your colleague just throws it away in the dustbin. What will be, how do you feel about it? Very quickly, let's start with Medha. Pick one technique and tell us quickly what you're going to say.
Uh, so I am picking up the storytelling method.
And
So
by very quickly, keep it in 10 seconds. What is the story you're going to share?
so in 10 seconds, I have to share the story.
No, no, no. Just quickly, that one story. Fatafat say.
Okay. So this question takes me back to my 12th standard project, which I made in my field of commerce. So it was a research about a company which we had to do and write all the statistics related to its profit, its growth in the next 5 years, and probably make a project out of it stating the financial plan for its success. So while my friends were copying other projects of their seniors, I took a stand to make the project myself because I was of the view that I need to be honest with myself so that I can really sleep well. And when it got graded, I got full marks. But then as soon as my viva was completed, so the teacher kind of put my project file on the floor, and it kind of really hurt me that I had did so much of preparation and put in a lot of hard work into making that project, especially decorating it, because drawing is not my forte. So
Okay.
it really hurt me. And just as that happened, I remember I used to read a lot since 7th standard, so I remembered a quote that life is a festival, but only to the wise. So as soon as I recalled this quote, my emotions got a little, the hurt got a little, low, and suddenly this ray of wisdom fell upon me that I need to celebrate that I got full marks for my viva, and it's okay that my project was kept on the floor and I moved on with my life. So that's all.
I think Medha herself has used a lot of techniques in one speech only. If I can say, one is the storytelling approach that she has used. Another is the Oreo, wherein she gives that fact, using our reason and then also giving an example of it. And then even the past, present, or future also. When she talked about the past, she also mentioned a little bit that, even today that quote just keeps her going. And I'm sure that will happen with her in future also. So very quickly, because we have taken some time, anybody of you can unmute yourself, Lokendra, Kamlesh, or who I can see else. Uh, yes, I will not give you time because I have something else for you. Uh, Sonu, Lokesh, Prashantji, anybody else wants to quickly use the politician and pivot method over here? Very quickly. Guys, are you there? Kamlesh is using the best technique, which is
I'm
yes,
actually
Lokesh.
here, but I'm here, but actually there's a Jagran going on nearby.
No
So I think
problem.
no problem. So let me. So you are asking me to choose a uh, choose a technique. I like you say pivot and
Politician and pivot.
politician pivot. Sorry, I'm not aware about that technique
No
much.
problem.
So
No problem. No problem. Kamlesh or Lokendra, do you want to really quickly do this? Guys, quickly, we'll have to move to the next slide. Quickly. Yes, do you want to try this out? Politician and pivot,
Sure.
do this.
What dustbin resembles me is something dustbin to me actually means that where the trash is stored or where the trash is thrown. And when something is thrown in that, I consider it as a waste. But there are some companies that have built their whole business of collecting this trash and recycling this to provide the best case, to recycle them and to eliminate the problem that we have of excess trash, and so that this trash does not go into the landfill. So there is the Ocean 8 company. There are many businesses in Bangalore that do it. But if my project gets thrown after I receive a successful grade on my project, I won't be too sad. Of course, the efforts that I put in to make it would somewhat go in vain, but there is some optimism that somewhere down the line it may reach those companies and might help make the planet greener.
Amazing, amazing. That is how we use the. So you have actually very aptly used the politician and pivot method, wherein you pick one word out of it and you pivot it entirely. Now, if you do this in table topics, no judge will be able to cut you off because you have picked something out of it and you have pivoted the topic entirely. So I was able to understand, make you understand this.